Greetings and salutations, and welcome back to yet another episode of Project Vegas. Today, we will be looking into the rooftops of these buildings here. But just before we go do that, I wanted to show you a few things I've did since the last episode. It's not too much, but I don't know if you remember that I talked about making this building here, at least part of it, into some sort of an abandoned building. And I kinda started doing that. You can see we got water dripping down here and buckets in place to catch it, and nothing is really furnished at all in this building. I did make it spawn proof, as you know, you wouldn't want to go in here and blow stuff up. But basically, I created this condemned building here now where water is dripping, and maybe you should move up because not too much interesting down here, but spider web, water in the floorboards and stuff like that. So the thing is, I kind of went a bit overboard and did that on every single floor. And although this looks quite simple, it actually took me a little while to do, mainly to kind of plan how, trial and error, how these blocks should be. And as you can see, I put the darker ones here to emphasize that those are infested with water. So yeah, I did that on every single floor. So now the question is if I should just leave it like this, like a abandoned condemned building, or if I should spend some time decorating these a bit more, because either I can furnish them like as if people are living here, or I could leave them as they are now, or I could furnish them as if people are squatting here, So do let me know in the comments what you think. I will not be touching this in this episode and probably not the next one either, but do let me know if you have any hints, if this is good enough. Because I guess the thing is, just move outside again will correct that. These other buildings look pretty decent, and also in the inside, so having an abandoned building right next to it maybe seems a bit weird. I'm not really too sure. We will have a look at that in a moment. So the thing is that I actually made a whole other intro for this before I built all this up here, but I just looked through it and that was like one of the worst intros ever. So now we're just gonna do this again after I built the whole thing here. So let's move over. We can go back to this in a moment. I really like the fireplace and the fire escape thing I did there. But basically, I added a bit of life up here. So if we have a barbecue here, I really can't take credit for the design. I basically Googled Minecraft barbecues, and this was one of the first things that came up, and it just looked awesome. So I blatantly copied that design. I have no idea who made it, but whoever you are, thank you for that. Basically, it's two looms, and then, yeah, it's easy to see, right? A few decorations here and there. So I think this looks really great. Of course, really come to enjoy the beer bottles now. So now there's beer bottles all over the place. This is basically a party zone. And I guess it contrasts a bit, taking into account that the entire building downstairs is abandoned, but maybe it could be because people come from the buildings over here and basically just, took over the entire thing as no one is using it. So here again, small fireplace, a few bottles of beer or what are the other booze people have been drinking. Maybe that's a Coke. So nothing too crazy, just like a relaxation area, I guess. And then I really got into the habit these days of using, trapdoors and putting ladders on them, because that makes the ladder take up less space, especially if you want it to be, a bit in the mid of the air here. And here we have some, I guess someone is drying their clothes here, like a small water tower thing. Again, a bit of cozy and relaxation area. And then we can move down here to the apartments that we took a look at in the last episode. So basically this is the rooftops. So I really like it when you're looking from here. It both looks good and bad in the same way. By good, I mean I like the color here. This looks a bit barren, but I think it's okay because it's a rooftop. It's not meant to be like totally crowded and furnished. But I kind of like the color mixture that is going on here, especially over here. I think that is it's a bit sad. It's basically the condemned building, in my opinion, that looks the best. But that's just how it is. The reason I say it also looks bad is just maybe that's more from a, if you look at from afar. Let's just take a, because it looks quite weird that there's a lot of stuff going on up here all of a sudden. But I do enjoy it in the end. I wanted some more life of its own up here on the rooftops, and we definitely have it now. And then I wanted to do the store. Since Tinny's did the hair salon in the previous episode, I figured it would be a nice fit to have some kind of... Basically, this is a store that sells clothes. So here we have the cashier area. I may have went a bit overboard by hanging a cloth all over the place, but I just figured it fit in. Basically, some clothing here, some mannequins with clothing around here. And then on these shelves here, I basically used half slabs to indicate, stacks of clothing, generic clothing. So and I figured here on the lower levels, the more accessible ones, we should have a bit more mixture of different types. Whereas up here, it's sort of more like a uniform how they are stored, right? So the same piece of clothing on each shelf. And then back here, kind of the same, some white clothing. It looks a bit weird maybe in hindsight with white diorite as the clothings on these white shelves, but let's just go with it. And a bit up here, and then basically a lot of clothing here. So I also considered if I should put in, a changing room, but I figured this is, one of these smaller shops. You just go in and buy stuff. It's not like a shopping district per se. It's, there's apartments up here and stuff. So this is probably a smaller store or something. I don't really know, to be honest, but I just figured this was good enough. So there's not too much more to show that has changed over the last week. So basically, I did the store and I did the rooftops up here. And I figured maybe we should talk a bit of planning instead. Because I'm kind of planning ahead to the next 2 episodes. In real life, I will be quite busy and be on vacation for a while. But I still wanted to put out 2 episodes for the next 2 weeks. So I was thinking that I should finish the bridge in here. So that's definitely gonna be one of the things we will be finishing. If you have been keeping up and following the series, you know that that is more or less the only thing missing inside this huge ship here. So getting that done would be amazing. And also, I still need to get parts of this mountain here removed. And maybe we'll do that as well, but I guess that'll only result in a time lapse and not be that interesting in terms of results. But it's still something that needs to be done. So maybe I will also remove that and maybe expand a bit here on the harbor here. And thirdly, what I hope to accomplish within the next 2 weeks is one of 2 things as the third thing. Either I'd like to have an additional of these balls, Pokeballs here, to kind of, mark off where the entrance to the upcoming Pokemon Stadium will be. So I will be placing one over here so we can kind of have the road go in between here. So that's one of them. Or we will add another building over here. Because I would really like... Oh, let me just get like a better vantage point. I would really like to have a restaurant here. And it would fit quite well over here. Basically, move over here for a little bit. I would push it a bit back to give a bit more of the sidewalk here. So maybe push it back so it kind of covers this one here. We will have like a building here. Likely with apartments on top as the other ones here. But then with a restaurant here, with where you can sit on the outside as well. Because I think that we are missing a bit of life on the street here. And adding that would at least alleviate some of that. Maybe we also need a bit of decorations here, but I kind of shot myself in the foot back when I did this, because the sidewalk is simply a bit too small. So basically I built a lot of these buildings too close, I guess, to the sidewalk to to have some proper room for, adding a bit of life here or something. I think it went okay with adding the stair down here, but that was kind of my first time when I started realizing that we needed a bit more life out here. But adding a restaurant with some, roadside eating or whatever you call it would definitely help. So if I manage to get the time within the next 2 weeks, I might put some effort into that. Alternatively, we will have an additional Pokeball. So one small thing I forgot to show is this fire escape here. I built it entirely out of acacia trapdoors and acacia staircases, and basically it just goes down and down and down and ends up here in a small ladder, again attached to a trapdoor. We can go down here, and it's high enough so you cannot jump up. I think that's generally the case, that I guess you need to pull down the ladder somehow to get, and I think it's also meant as an escape and not as an entrance anyways, right? But looking a bit from afar, I actually think this looks really great, and it's super simple to build. You basically just build it out of trapdoors, and I think the acacia trapdoors just have this nice rusty metal look that also goes well with the building here. So yeah, that definitely added something to the building, and it just looks amazing in my opinion. Anyways, I guess that was it for this episode. I know this was a bit of a weird episode, especially because I kind of messed up my original intro, but I guess we managed to do what we set out to do anyways. And I thought we should just end it here on our very first building of Project Vegas, on our helipad or close to it, and also gives us a decent overlook. That's my face. It gives us a decent overlook of what we've made so far down there. So in the next episode, as I already mentioned, we will be looking into some of the things, and maybe if we get the time, we will have a bit of a look on some of the other projects here on the server. We things have been working a bit on our common, what do you call this, hyper array in another hub. Kind of been expanding a bit on that, which is great. And also Stuf has made changes to his base, the one where we removed the mountain or the hill in the last episode. So maybe we'll also go have a look and see how things are evolving over there. He also invited me to build a house there. So maybe we'll also, just maybe do that. We'll see. Time is running short. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. And do remember to hit the like button and subscribe button and the bell and all the good stuff down there. Oh well, even the dislike button if you are up for doing that, but at least let me know why then. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and you'll see me in the next video. Bye!